So what would be your advice when it comes to crafting? Because let's say I just started farming like a lot, up to a point that when it comes to wood, I went from T4 all the way up to T8, and I've been farming a lot. I'm just gonna put it that way. Um, but I didn't craft anything yet. I'm just, gathering materials. Uh,
Are you refining them?
then I haven't done that yet.
But you plan to.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you specifically mentioned wood. So the only thing that is just craftable with wood is bows.
Okay.
Bow bonus is Limhurst, so you'll do all your crafting in Limhurst.
So
As far as getting the crafting spec, so here's the thing. Personally, I would power through it until you get level 30 bowcrafter unlocked. Now you can do that a multitude of ways. I'm not going to go over the getting the tier 4 unlocked. Like if you can't figure out how to do that, you need to go back to the beginner island. Um,
right.
but anyway, once you're at tier 4, I would recommend crafting probably a bunch of 4 threes until, like I said, you get level 30 unlocked, which is tier 6. Now, once you have tier 6 unlocked, that's where you're going to have more options available to you. Now, why am I saying that, right? Because, like, at tier 4, right, the highest it can go is technically tier 8, but good luck finding profit crafting 4 fours.
Right.
5 3 tends to be a little on the expensive side, so that's also not ideal. You can do some tier 8 crafting though. Personally, I wouldn't get too deep into that. Like the only reason that I would craft 4s and 5s at this point is for the crystal weapons. They're the only ones that are probably going to sell well. Um, but going on to that, so once we've got tier 6 unlocked, that's where we just start making money. That's where it's going to branch out. So at that point, if you don't have a lot of silver to invest, you have a couple of different options. You can start by just crafting 6-1. So whatever it is, whatever weapon, bow, whatever you're crafting, just craft 6-1. And you're not necessarily worrying about the 6-1 being profitable to craft because your goal is not to sell the 6-1. Your goal is that you have this very cheap thing, right? Your 6-1 is significantly cheaper than I don't know, tier 8, tier 9, right? So
Right.
my point there is now we can take it to, let's say, Fort Sterling, okay? And the travel cost is going to be nothing if you just fast travel with a, naked on an ox, a tier 3 ox to be specific. But yeah, travel cost is going to be nothing. And now we're going to be in Fort Sterling, okay? So we're away from the flooded markets of Limhurst. And what you're going to do now is you're going to place your buy order for not the runes, but the souls and the relics.
Okay.
And so what you're going to do now is you're going to go take that to the artifact foundry and you're going to go enchant that up.
Oh.
Now you got to run your own numbers, make sure you are at bare minimum breaking even on it. I have some math and we can go certainly go over one if you want later, but I want to finish this first. So once you've got that enchanted, right now you have something that's definitely worth selling, right? Now you got a tier 8, a tier 9 weapon. People are going to want that. A ton of people use badons, whalings, longbows. Longbows, I'm not 100% sure about the longbow market. It is one of the base three, which is typically less profitable than the others. So I'm not 100% sure about longbow. Mist Piercer should sell well. I don't know about Sky Strider. That might be going too far. The crystal weapons tier 9, unless it's the what is that? The spear one, I think, is the one that's used in bombs typically.
You're talking about
The
the
Rift Glaive.
bow?
The Rift Glaive.
Yes. Yeah.
Riftwave is the only one that you'll probably get a decent amount of them selling at tier 9 or whatever. But we're talking about bows right now, so back to bows. So once
Right.
you have done that, right? So now you have one that you can put on the market and you can sell it. So the way I'd recommend that is when you are crafting your 6-1, again, you're not investing a large chunk of your capital, right? And now you have a bunch of 6-1, you can bring them to all the cities, fast travel, whatever, it's fine, it's not going to take that long. But now you can place the buy orders up in each individual city for those souls and those relics, okay?
Okay.
And so in every city you can do this, right? You can even do it in Brazilian. And I'll get to another point because you can get them for a little bit cheaper than just straight buying the souls and relics, but I want to keep continuing this point. So once you have it up on the market, you can continue put a new order in for your souls and relics, right? So that while you're waiting for this one to sell, you're getting what you need for the next one. And when you have what you need for the next one, it still hasn't sold, that's fine because you don't have a significant amount of your capital invested at this point in time, right? It's not like you crafted a bunch of tier 9 and you're sitting on all the tier 9.
Right.
So it's just, in my opinion, this is the way I would go about starting crafting from a low tier. You rush to unlock tier 6, do the 6-1 crafting, bring it around, buy the not runes, buy the souls and relics, and just upgrade them to sell. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier is that there are cheaper ways of getting these souls and relics, right?
Right.
So, does anyone here know how we do that?
Yes. He's going to tell the real secrets of Albion. Here we go.
So, we would go into the market, and instead of searching for the souls or the relics or whatever, we're going to search for the artifacts. Now, if this is the first time you're doing this, you have to know that the artifacts disenchant into different things. So there's a little light or shimmer or whatever you want to call it that is around each of the artifacts. Okay? The color will tell you which one it gives. Now, yellow gives runes, orange gives souls, red gives relics.
Okay.
So, if we take a look at one of them, and I'm going to pull it up right now here, I'll stream it in a second. All right, so we're trying to get souls at the moment, right? Because we have a 6-1. So let's take a look here at this occult orb. All right. So the estimated market value for an occult orb is 5.6, we'll call it. Okay. So let's see, what can we buy these for? Looks like we can buy them for 5.2. I'd say you toss a buy order in here at 5.3. Don't do a large buy order, do like 5 or whatever. And, you know, in a couple days you'll probably get them. Now, if we take this over to the artifact foundry, in fact, you know, let me just buy one. Okay. So let's pretend that I got this for 5.3, okay? I'll take this to the artifact foundry,
Right.
drop it in here. So first things first, everything has a salvage value. So you're getting back roughly 1,000 here, right? So when that comes down to total costs, we're looking at a total cost now of like 4.3 instead of 5.3, right?
Right.
So let's salvage that. Look at what it's worth now, 7,500. How much is these souls worth by themselves? 750. Now, is that what you're going to pay on a buy order? Probably not. But this method is cheaper than even buy ordering when it comes to 90% of this.
Now, I don't know about you, but I hard cap my buy orders for artifacts and such at 50% of their, uh, raw value.
I mean, you can do that. I think it might be a little difficult for newer players to keep up with that, but you can. So that was a look at the souls, right? So let's try a relic now, right? Actually, better yet, before we get to that, let's just check what does the soul sell for. So if we had just bought the souls as is, so we'd be buying them for 650, okay? Now I'm not gonna count the setup fee. I'm just gonna ignore that. It's insignificant at this point. But so that would mean that if we had just bought them through buy orders, right, it would have cost us 6,500. That for the 10, okay? But by buying the artifact and salvaging it, we bought those 10 for 4,300. So already that's like a 2,000 difference. And you have to remember that in the process of doing this, if you're doing a two-handed weapon, I think that's 384 or so of these souls that you would need. So we're just gonna round that. We're gonna call it 38. 38 times 2,000, right? So that's 76k right there that you just saved per craft. All right. So now let's take a look at the runes. Not the runes, the relics. Where are they? There we are. Relics. All right. There's not a whole lot of buy orders here at the moment. I'm sure that'll change at some point in time, but you see the estimated market value is let's just call it 2, like close enough. And they typically sell. Yeah, they typically sell for that value in the market here. So realistically, you could probably do like 1.7, and they might go, might. But anyway, so we're gonna say that this is like 2. Because again, this is the estimated value, right? So it's across all markets. Now let's look at the weapons. So this has the red hue behind it, right? So that means that it's going to give us a relic. So this by itself is 1,700. Typically, we go in here. We can see. Look, I even have a buy order in here at 14, right? So looks like it's going to be closer to 15 at the moment for actual buy orders. So let's say we got this for 15. And just to be clear, while we're here, let's go back to the relic. So if you just were to buy these off the market right now, right, you'd be paying roughly 18. I'll just round that up. I'll call it 17. Okay, so you would have paid 17 for that. And here, we bought this for what was it, 16? No, 18. Okay. So honestly, these about right now, it seems like they're the same price, right? And it may be that way on occasion. Maybe this is a bad one to actually buy like that, but I'm just doing this for the sake of showing you. So I put it in here now, right? I'm gonna get 2,000 back on it. So that's basically one relic for free. Now let's see, if we look at the other relics, is there a cheaper option? Because that one wasn't a great example, right? Look at this one. This is the siege bow, right? You see that there are buy orders in here for like 9,000. Now is it actually selling at that number though? Looks like it's actually selling around 13, 14. So you could put buy order in here for 14. You'll salvage it, you'll get 2,000 back, so that's 12,000 costs, right? So instead of paying 1.8 per relic, you're paying 1.2. Now again, you need like 384 of these. So let's see, it's 460 that way, and that's like almost 300k right there that you would save per craft just by buying the artifacts, salvaging them. Okay. All right. So now that I've said that much, right? Is there questions? Anything people want to ask? Anything people didn't understand?
I mean, that's a nice way to put it, though. I would say it that way. That means we gotta buy a lot just to get a good profit out of it, if you want to get some profit, or get the relic so that you can craft it.
Yep.
So
But
it's a long-term investment.
I wouldn't say it's a long term. It
Well,
can
it
be
depends on the
long
market,
term to make more profits.
right?
Yeah, there's different ways to look at it too. If you wanted to keep the relic itself at a low buy cost, and then you use that to craft, or if you're just looking to flip, if you want to buy it low and sell it high in another market, there's always profit there somewhere. But
Yeah.
ultimately salvaging it and holding on to it, and then using that to enhance or enchant the weapon that you're using is probably the best way to go.
And I mean, I haven't been talking too much about just market flipping in general, but like, if you go on the market and I don't know, what's the weapon we play here? What's the weapon that you guys use? Can't give me a weapon on top of the head, guys? Come on.
Siege bow.
Alright, siege bow. So let's see, where's crossbow? I passed it, didn't I? There it is at the top. Okay. Alright, so let's say that we put a buy order in for these, and we see like there are not many good buy orders right now, right? Like these are, I don't know, not really going by the looks of it. So you could probably put a buy order in for like 2k and get a bunch of these off the market. Yeah, look, the estimated market value is 1.9. So yeah, you could probably even put the estimated market value in, you'll probably get them. So now let's consider, okay, we want to upgrade this, right? Now, before we get too far into this, let's just see what they're actually selling for on the market. So they're selling for 1.7 on the market, right?
Holy moly.
So this is what you would pay, right? Actually, you know what, before we get to that, let's just check the different tier. Actually cheaper? I know it is something else. Okay, so I mean, this is cheaper at the moment, but there's also not a good supply of them, so you can't rely on that. And then 8.1, I'm sure is not, yeah, it's definitely. So back to looking at 6163, right? So we can look at the difference. So if you were to get this for, let's say, the 200, right? Like, let's assume that you're getting this for its average estimated market value. Okay, so you're buying this off the market for 200.
Well,
And
that's a good thing you just click through into the quality, because that's the thing to look at sometimes. Sometimes people will put like an outstanding as an undercut below the good.
yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't like looking at normals because 90% of the time people just upgrade them because it's typically not that hard to upgrade normals. And a lot of people don't buy normals. Like, I mean, you look here, right? There is nothing, right? The market has been empty 4 weeks. No one has bought a single normal. Now we go up to good and we can see, okay, there's a little bit more action here, right? So, as I was saying, it looks like you can get this for 1.7 off the market, okay? Now, let's consider what we just did, okay? So, based on the numbers that we just ran, It's a two-hand. So it's gonna be roughly 7 to 1 mil, somewhere in there, to upgrade this. And again, we purchased this for 200, right? And we're gonna get an increase of value by roughly 700 to 1 mil, depending on whether you do the artifact method or not. Okay. So at the maximum return, so we're looking at the 700 plus the 200, right? So this will cost you roughly a mil, as opposed to buying it right off the market from someone else for 1.7. I saved you nearly the next one. Like you can nearly get two for the price of one. So even if you're not crafting them, take a look. You might be able to just get them for cheaper by just buying the lower tier ones and enchanting them.